Hello, young humans. It's your old friend Michael Chabon, and I'm here for story time. Today's story is Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. Mike Mulligan had a steam shovel, a beautiful red steam shovel. Her name was Mary Ann. Mike Mulligan was very proud of Mary Ann. He always said that she could dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week, but he had never been quite sure that this was true. There's Mike, and there's Mary Ann. Mike and Mary Ann had been digging together for years and years. Mike Mulligan took such good care of Mary Ann, she never grew old. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the great canals for the big boats to sail through. See? There they are digging from one side. They're making a canal, it looks like. See? So boats can go from one side of the land to the other without going around. Like the Panama Canal. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who cut through the high mountains so that trains could go through. They are cutting through the mountains. See, Mary Ann? So that trains can go through. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who lowered the hills and straightened the curves to make the long highways for the automobiles. See? It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who smoothed out the ground and filled in the holes to make the landing fields for the airplanes. Why, they just did everything. See, there's her scooper. She scoops up the ground. Now airplanes can land. And it was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the deep holes for the cellars of the tall skyscrapers in the big cities. When people used to stop and watch them, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann used to dig a little faster and a little better. The more people stopped, the faster and better they dug. Some days they would keep as many as 37 trucks busy taking away the dirt they had dug. Here they are, see? They're building the foundation. That means the underneath part for a tall building. It's kind of like the basement, but it's very deep. And look at all those people gathered around to watch them work. And the more people watch them, the faster they go. Remember that. Then along came the new gasoline shovels. Shovels that run on gasoline instead of steam. And the new electric shovels. And the new diesel motor shovels. And took all the jobs away from the steam shovels. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann were very sad. I think here's the new ones that run all these new kinds of energy. Well, they were new back when this book was new. And steam power, which is where you burn a fire that boils water, and the boiling water makes the steam makes the engine go. They're not wanted anymore. And that little sign on the fence says, no steam shovels wanted. All the other steam shovels were being sold for junk or left out in old gravel pits to rust and fall apart. Mike loved Mary Ann. He couldn't do that to her. He had taken such good care of her that she could still dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week. At least he thought she could, but he wasn't quite sure. Everywhere they went, the new gas shovels and the new electric shovels and the new diesel motor shovels had all the jobs. No one wanted Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann anymore. Then one day, Mike read in a newspaper that the town of Popperville was going to build a new town hall. "We are going to dig the cellar of that town hall," said Mike to Mary Ann, and off they started. Well, look, see? Here's all the other old steam shovels have been thrown into the junk heap. But not Mary Ann. Mike can't bear to do it. Look at him. He's saying, "No, I can't do that to you, Mary Ann." So he's reading the paper, and he sees the ad for a new town hall. They need a foundation. They need a basement. He's going to try to get that job in Popperville. They left the canals and the railroads and the airports and the big cities and the highways where no one wanted them anymore and went out away in the country. They crawled along slowly up the hills and down the hills till they came to the little town of Popperville. See, they left the city behind. And they went out to the country, and there's the little town of Popperville. The town square, the church, the store. When they got there, they found that the selectmen, those are the city council, the people that run the city, were just deciding who should dig the cellar for the new town hall. Mike Mulligan spoke to Henry B. Swap, one of the selectmen. I heard he said that you were going to build a new town hall. Mary Ann and I will dig the cellar for you in just one day. What? Said Henry B. Swap. Dig a cellar in a day? It would take 100 men at least a week to dig the cellar for our new town hall. Sure, said Mike, but Mary Ann can dig as much in a day as 100 men can dig in a week. Though he had never been quite sure that this was true. Then he added, if we can't do it, you won't have to pay. Henry B. Swap thought that this would be an easy way to get part of the cellar dug for nothing, so he smiled in a rather mean way and gave the job of digging the cellar of the new town hall to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. See, there's Mary Ann, trying to look like she's up to the job. Wait, there it says Mary Ann, by the way. There's Mike, and here's Henry B. Swap, and here's the people from the town. Notice that little boy, because he'll come back in the story. They started in early the next morning, just as the sun was coming up. Soon, a little boy came along. Do you think you'll finish by sundown? He said to Mike Mulligan. Sure, said Mike. If you stay and watch us, we always work faster and better when someone is watching us. So the little boy stayed to watch. There's a little boy and his dog. Here's the town. Now see, here's the corners have been laid out. So what Mike's going to have to do, Mike and Mary Ann, is dig a square-shaped hole inside those corners. That's the job. One that's deep enough to be the basement for the new town hall. Then Mrs. McGillicuddy, Henry B. Swap, and the town constable, the police chief, came over to see what was happening, and they stayed to watch. Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug a little faster and a little better. See them? Here they come. Henry B. Swap, Mrs. McGillicuddy, and the town constable. And there's Mike and Mary Ann, and they've started digging the hole. And there you can see the boy and his dog watching. This gave the little boy a good idea. He ran off and told the postman with the morning mail, the telegraph boy on his bicycle, the milkman with his cart and horse, the doctor on his way home, the farmer and his family coming into town for the day, and they all stopped and stayed to watch. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig a little faster and a little better. They finished the first corner, neat and square, but the sun was getting higher. See, here's all the people coming in to watch, and there they are. You can see they're getting deeper. There's the sun getting higher in the sky. That means it's getting later in the day. And you can probably see this story is taking place a long time ago. Clang, 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 the fire department arrived. They had seen the smoke and thought there was a fire. Then the little boy said, why don't you stay and watch? So the fire department of Popperville stayed to watch Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. When they heard the fire engine, the children in the school across the street couldn't keep their eyes on their lessons. The teacher called a long recess and the whole school came out to watch. That made Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dig still faster and still better. They finished the second quarter, neat and square, but the sun was right up at the top of the sky. Now the girl who answers the telephone. Back in these days, people's telephones all connected to one person nearby who made all of the phone calls they make go through to whoever it was they were trying to call. It was called a switchboard. And I guess there was one in every town, a telephone operator. So now the telephone operator in this town, in Popperville, called up the next towns of Bangerville and Bopperville and Kipperville and Copperville and told them what was happening in Popperville. All the people came over to see if Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel could dig the cellar in just one day. The more people came, the faster Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann dug. But they would have to hurry. They were only halfway through and the sun was beginning to go down. They finished the third corner, neat and square. Wow, look you guys, look how many people have shown up to watch what's happening. And look, you can see one corner's done, two corners are done. Now they're finishing the third quarter. They're just going to have this one last corner to dig. Never had Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann had so many people to watch them. Never had they dug so fast and so well, and never had the sun seem to go down so fast. Hurry, Mike Mulligan, hurry, hurry, shouted the little boy. There's not much time. Dirt was flying everywhere, and the smoke and steam were so thick that the people could hardly see anything. But listen, bing, bang, crash, slam, louder and louder, faster and faster. Wow, look at the dirt just flying out of Mary Ann's scooper. It's like her mouth. There's the sun starting to go down. Then suddenly it was quiet. Slowly the dirt settled down, the smoke and steam cleared away, and there was the cellar all finished. 4 corners neat and square, 4 walls straight down, and Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann at the bottom, and the sun was just going down behind the hill. Hooray! Shouted the people. Hooray for Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. They have dug the cellar in just one day. They did it. Look, and you can see there's Mike taking a bow. And Mary Ann too. They dug that whole cellar in just one day. Suddenly the little boy said, "How are they going to get out?" "That's right," said Mrs. McGillicuddy to Henry B. Swap. "How is he going to get his steam shovel out?" Henry B. Swap didn't answer, but he smiled in a rather mean way. Then everybody said, "How are they going to get out? Hey, Mike Mulligan, how are you going to get your steam shovel out?" Mike Mulligan looked around at the 4 square walls and 4 square corners, and he said, "We've dug so fast and we've dug so well that we've quite forgotten to leave a way out." Nothing like this had ever happened to Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann before, and they didn't know what to do. Look, they're trapped at the bottom of the hole that they dug. Mary Ann was kind of like, "What?" See? What are they going to do, you guys? Nothing like this had ever happened in Popperville before. Everybody started talking at once, and everybody had a different idea, and everybody thought that his or her idea was the best. They talked, and they talked, and they argued, and they fought till they were worn out, and still no one knew how to get Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann out of the cellar they had dug. Then Henry B. Swap said, "The job isn't finished because Mary Ann isn't out of the cellar, so Mike Mulligan won't get paid." And he smiled in rather a mean way. Now the little boy, who had been keeping very quiet, had another good idea. He said, "Why couldn't we leave Mary Ann in the cellar and build the new town hall above her? Let her be the furnace for the new town hall, and let Mike Mulligan be the janitor. Then you wouldn't have to buy a new furnace, and we could pay Mike Mulligan for digging the cellar in just one day." There's a furnace here. Here's everyone trying to talk about what's going to happen, what Mike's going to do. There's Henry B. Swap being mean. Here's a little boy having his idea. It's a furnace. It's just a big boiler that boils water that makes heat for the building that it's in. So it works the same way as a steam shovel engine. "Why not?" said Henry B. Swap, and smiled in a way that was not quite so mean. "Why not?" said the town constable. "Why not?" said all the people. So they found a ladder and climbed down into the cellar to ask Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. "Why not?" said Mike Mulligan. So it was decided, and everybody was happy. They built the new town hall. Come on, Michael, let everyone see the picture. Kind of rushing here. Here's everyone climbing down a ladder to ask Mike and Mary Ann what they think of the little boy's idea, and they like it. They built the new town hall right over Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. It was finished before winter. So here you can see they're building the new town hall. And look down there in the basement. There's Mary Ann. She's going to be the furnace for the new town hall. Every day the little boy goes over to see Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, and Mrs. McGillicuddy takes some nice hot apple pies. As for Henry B. Swap, he spends most of his time in the cellar of the new town hall, listening to the stories that Mike Mulligan has to tell and smiling in a way that isn't mean at all. You can see Mrs. McGillicuddy carrying a pie into this cute new town hall. And there's Henry B. Swap coming in, talk stories. There's a little boy. Now, when you go to Popperville, be sure to go down in the cellar of the new town hall. There they'll be, Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann. Mike in his rocking chair, smoking his pipe, and Mary Ann beside him, warming up the meetings in the new town hall. And there you go, look at that. See Mike in his rocking chair? Probably really nice and cozy and warm on a cold New England day. And here's the boiler part of Mary Ann. And all these pipes coming out. See? And here comes Mike's visitors. And that's the end of that story. I hope you enjoyed it. Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. Thanks, everybody. I really enjoyed reading it to you. Take care, be safe, be well, be kind, and I'll see you next time.